Hey students, Mr. King right here. I'm going to show you another very cool way to make art with linoleum blocks and cutting tools. So I'm going to flip the camera around and I'm going into the art supply room and I'm walking over to the linoleum blocks right here. I already started this one, but you have those blank blocks right there and you have your cutting tools up here. These are pretty cool. I'm going to walk it over here to the table and show you how to use these. I did this in high school and I still remember it, and it's a pretty enjoyable way of art making. So it will turn into a printmaking project, but first you get to do some carving. So I took a pencil and I drew my image. Let's see if I can zoom in here a little bit. On the linoleum block, and I made my lettering backwards because when you do letters and numbers, it gets flipped after you print your paper, and they always need to be backwards. So with these tools, the top comes off like this. You just twist this, and there are cutting tools inside. There should be 4 of them. And they all fit in this tool. And there is a V cutter right here that will cut a sharp V. There is a straight line cutter right here. A really sharp V for like little tiny narrow gaps and detailed work, maybe like hair on an animal or something. And when you just need to clear a lot of the space away on the block, this is like a U-shaped, a wide U-shaped cut right here, and that's the one I'll be using today to clear off some space around my image. I've already taken the straight line tool, this one here, and cut around my letters and around my eagle. That way I can push this right up to the line where I made those cuts. So I kind of, wherever I drew with pencil, I went around with that straight line tool, and not this one, I went around those pencil lines and just cut straight down into the block. All right, so I'm gonna put these aside. Don't need them right now. And I'm gonna work on this eagle a little bit. I put this lid back on here. And I need to loosen up this end here and make it where I see that little black gap, and I need to find the side of this that fits in there, and it's this rounded off side. Once the gap is large enough, I need to twist it a little further so it will push down in there, and then I've twisted it further out so this will go all the way down in. Now I'm going to twist this righty-tighty. Turn it, so when we tighten things, we turn to the right. Look at the top of it, righty-tighty. Okay, now I'm ready to push this through the linoleum and carve away to make my image print, to help my image be ready to print. Pull up my chair here, keep this block right here, and it looks like around these feathers, I'm gonna need the sharper little V tool to get in that space. But out here where I want to take away some big chunks, I can just push this tool right through and remove big pieces of the linoleum. So I would recommend a pencil drawing first. You can use your Chromebook and find an image that you really like. Now I've already made straight cuts along the side of this M. Okay, so I'm continuing my cut on this eagle, and I switched to this skinny V tool, and it's really helping me do these curved lines, like the curves around the F, the S. So I just wanted to demonstrate, if I'm cutting in, it's a little easier to make these turns with the skinnier tool. I can turn the block instead of trying to move my hand in a crazy way. I can turn that block slowly and just push my way through with that cutting tool. So I just carved a little groove around the bottom of the beak. Now I'm gonna put this back in and turn the block slowly. I'm always pushing away from my body. These tools are sharp, so you need to be careful. There's definitely no place for playing around with them. There's a nice channel around that beak. There's a really sharp turn inside this S. I've already got a piece of that out of there. I can go out and take this big chunk out of there later. And with the eye, I'm gonna print the, I'm gonna do a little tiny detail. Well, that's gonna be really difficult to pull off, getting that one right there. I'm gonna remove this space around the iris. That's gonna be tricky. And I also have X-Acto knives. We can use this to get in some of these, do some really close detail work. And I can also use the skinny tool to make some little notches, like the white turns to brown on this line. So I can carve out this line, and I can make some little grooves. Next up is getting your printing ink and brayer and printing press and tray. So there is a brayer and a tray right there. The brayers are in that small container on the top, and there is a printing press right there. So I'm grabbing those things, and I'm gonna head on over and run a print off of my linoleum block. Okay, I'm gonna take the ink and put about a little bit more than a toothpaste size dab on the tray. I got the brayer here. I'm gonna set the brayer on the ink and kind of smush it down. And if I pick it up, I will get the ink to go on the other side of the brayer. I'm gonna go both directions with it. And sometimes I gotta go a little bit faster to get you'll get that sticky sound. And it needs to cover enough area that's big enough for your linoleum block. Set that off to the side. I've pre-cut some really nice paper and put my name on it. It's important that you do that, and also put your hour. I want the thick paper. I'm gonna take my linoleum cut. I've already practiced with it once and I messed up, so I'm doing it again. I'm gonna set that in my ink. Drop it straight down. You don't want it to move when you set it in there. I'm gonna put some pressure on the back of it. Peel it up. Put it down on my paper. Set it down carefully, and then pull in my press. The press will just put even pressure everywhere so that it prints nicely. And it's got to be adjusted a little. Looks like about right there. And I didn't get the top edge of it, so it sticks to the press. I need to put like baby powder or something on the back of it so it doesn't stick. The top edge I didn't grab, so I'm gonna repress it. And then I'm gonna pull it out of there. Peel it on the corner. And I got a pretty good print on there. It could probably be better, so I might try it again. Grabbing a piece of paper. Sometimes if there's too much ink on there, you can just, without putting it back in the tray, you can just go straight to the paper, or maybe you want a faded version. So I'm gonna set that one down. Put it back on my press. Put the press down, hard pressure. Now I left a little piece out, and that helps me get it off of the press because it wants to stick. I want it to stick to that metal. Peel the corner, and there's a faded version. So over here I could have shaved that linoleum down a little bit further so I wouldn't get that problem. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. It looks a little light here, so that one probably needed more ink. So cleaning up on this stuff is important. Just a little bit of warm water, and that's too hot. You can use your hand to, I'll let that soak a little bit. The water here is really hot. You can use your hand to wipe it off, or you can use a scrub brush, or both. And you can reuse the linoleum or let somebody else try to print with it. Maybe they can make some changes to it. And you can put stuff in the track, the tray. The brush speeds up the job really quickly. Instead of, you don't want to just hold it there and let the water, wait for the water to do the job. So my fingers are helping it go a little faster. Put that in there, and then the brayer. It's really important that we get all the ink off the brayer. That's probably the most important part, because these are kind of expensive. And once the ink dries on there, it's sometimes it ruins it. So that's it. It's a good cleanup, and you're finished.